Welcome to Conversations with Spirit, where we dive deep into the mystical and enchanting realms of spirituality. I'm your host, spiritual medium Lauri Albert, and together with special guests, we explore a world of spiritual insights and experiences, as well as offer captivating mediumship and oracle card readings. Tune in for enlightening conversations that will uplift your soul and expand your consciousness. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Spirit. And my name is Lauri Albert. I am a spiritual medium, and I am just honored for you to be here tonight. So thanks for coming in. Tonight, you guys, this is going to be such a beautiful, I just already know it's going to be a beautiful conversation. I am thrilled to have as my guest psychic medium Susan Schueler. And let me read to you about who Susan is, right? She's got the best bio. Like, I don't know if you wrote that yourself, but it's just like, it's so cute. All right. So Susan Schueler is a professional psychic medium who lives in Venice Beach, California, with her 3 dogs and magical cat, Merkaba, which I just think is hilarious. That is so great. He sees dead people too, she says. She does live mediumship and psychic demonstrations, private readings, psychic mediumship, past lives and spiritual assessments, and small group readings in both New York and California. Susan also does private readings around the world with the use of Zoom. Yay, Zoom. Seriously. Yay, Zoom, right? Prior to being a full-time psychic medium, Susan was a high school English teacher for 25 years and is certified in both New York State and California. As someone who loves to teach others how to use their intuitive abilities, Susan teaches several ongoing in-person development circles and also many Zoom courses and workshops. She feels grateful and blessed to serve mankind and the spirit world. And you know what I love about that, Susan? Thank you for coming on the show. I'm thrilled for you to be here. How are you tonight?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I am doing wonderfully.
Oh, good. That's great. It's so interesting because the last thing that I read on your bio, and she feels grateful and blessed to serve mankind in the spirit world. And I love that because you're remembering that is the spirit world, but you're also remembering the humanness, that we all are, that we can see. So I'm so appreciative of you being here. Thanks for coming.
Okay.
Yay. Yay. So tonight, you guys, the theme for this show, and this is something that Susan and I were just talking about, how it's not talked about enough. But tonight's talk, we're going to focus on the physical challenges of dealing with grief, how our human life deals with learning how to handle loss with grace. So if you have any questions, we would love to help you with that. And I have a feeling this conversation is going to be really interesting because of the fact that this is not a subject that's talked about that much. Don't you think, Susan?
Absolutely. And it's sad because it probably should be spoken of just because, if you think about it, life is about loss. I mean, it really is about loss. And I don't mean to sound like a Debbie Downer, but but nobody really teaches us how to cope with loss. So I think it's a conversation that needs to be said. I'm really glad it's our topic.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, because certainly as a psychic medium, you deal with loss a lot, I don't know about you, but I have a question for you. This is off the subject of what we were, and then I was going to ask you and stuff, but I remember saying to people, specifically right when I first started doing like real readings, paid readings, the whole thing, I remember saying to people, so if your loved one has just passed, I can't give you a reading right away, because, and I remember thinking to myself, I think it's because you're going to laugh when I say this, but I think it's because the spirit isn't exactly ready. But then I started realizing over the course of time, that's not true at all. It's the humans that are not ready. Don't
Absolutely.
you think that there's
Yeah,
some validity
absolutely.
to that?
And to me, it's like contingent on the grief. If it's sudden, I remember reading for a woman one time that wanted a reading so bad. Her
Mhm.
husband had died in a plane crash, and it just didn't work. And he had
Yeah.
just died, and it wasn't that he couldn't come through and communicate, but it was almost like the grief wouldn't let us communicate with each other. And it was like
Yeah.
she was so in her pain. It
Yeah.
was tragic.
Gosh, that's such a shame, you know? And then you have to say to these people, you can come back,
Mm-hmm.
get over some of that grief first. Because I don't know, do you think, to me, it's kind of like if we think too much about it, we kind of push away spirit, or maybe you can say that better than me.
Well,
But does that make sense?
first of all, it's like I have to say from my standpoint, if that happens, I usually won't say to the client, your grief is getting in the way.
Oh,
Just because
sure. Yeah.
I felt like they'll be like, no, 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 I really want this reading. So
Yeah.
they won't really understand. Um,
Mhm.
so I usually just say, I'm sure it's me, or maybe they, I mean, I kind of will sidestep it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to kind
Yeah.
of avoid that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Because it's hard to tell somebody, well, you're too, you're too sad. You can, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to be rude about it. I get that. I realize I said that kind of harshly,
You
but
did.
it's just interesting how everybody grieves differently, and
Yeah.
how spirit knows when they can come through and when they can't. I think kind of that might be sort of the bottom line to it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and it's funny because whenever I sit down and do a reading, what I always say is, please bring through the spirit people who this person most need to hear from. And I'm going
Yeah.
to say, because of that intention, 98% of the time, the right spirit will come forward.
Yeah.
And sometimes all people need to know is that my mom is okay, or
Right.
that I handled things properly,
Yeah.
or is she in a good place right now? She wasn't before. So
Yeah.
sometimes you not need a full blown out, like, evidential boom, 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 boom reading.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let me say hello to some people. We've got Dose of Sunshine. Oh my gosh, we have a whole bunch of people on Instagram. We've got Stephanie and Christina. Hi, Christina. J Priz NY91. Katie, and then we've got Joanna, KB, Katie, Medium Melanie Rose, and then we've got Autumn Sunshine, who is Amanda. So thanks for being here, you guys. I appreciate it. We're talking about the physical. I'm going to say, I don't even know if this is the right way to say it, but the physicality of grief. And if you have any questions about anything we're talking about, please bring it on. We're going to give readings, so stick around. We're going to do that too. So, and I know we've already been talking about grief, but I want to go back because I want to, first of all, I want to say something about your bio that I just loved. You mentioned to me, actually, this isn't your bio. This is something you said to me via email. You said, you mentioned that your motto is just go with it. So, how did you come into that way of thinking?
Oh boy. Probably being a high school English teacher, it was like there were
Yeah,
so many things that were just out of your control,
yeah,
that I did just learn to go with it. But more
mhm,
importantly, I think being a medium, so many, it's like I was jokingly saying to you before, as a teacher, I could plan things. As
yeah,
a medium, you just have to surrender to spirit,
yeah,
and that's kind of where the magic happens. But
mhm,
I like what, the art of detachment, where, what do they say? Attachment equals suffering. So
yeah,
I try not to attach myself, which is a little tricky because we want to have goals, we want to have aspirations, but
mhm.
it's in the same sense. I try not to, do you know who Ram Dass is?
Oh, love Ram Dass.
Okay,
Oh,
Ram, he
abs-
nails it when he talks about when life happens, you just kind of go, so. And so it's just sort of like, okay, whatever's happening is happening. I'm just
yeah,
going with it.
yeah,
So I have to say, I practice that. Does it always work? No,
yeah.
but I do try to practice it.
Right, absolutely. And you know what? The other thing that, and I'm sorry, I'm being all like gushy, but the truth is, I loved when I asked you to be a guest on the show, you were like, well, yeah, I'm always up for something new. And I thought to myself, you know what? That is just so cool. Because I believe this or not, I'm kind of like a no person. Like my brain, I don't know why this is, my brain goes to no. Like when somebody says, do you want to go to the movies? I'll be like, oh no, but then obviously I come back and I think it through and I'm thinking, why am I saying no? What's up with that?
Right.
But I love positive people that are like, yeah, let's do this, and that sort of thing. And so I love people like you. So it's like
you have
people
to
like you
doing this work, we're forced out of our comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there is no comfort zone. So simply,
Right.
it's like, but that's where the magic happens. So
Yeah.
I've just learned, I literally will say yes pretty much to everything when it comes to my work and career. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Not my
Yeah.
personal,
You're so great. Oh my gosh. So, okay, so we're sitting here talking about grief and sort of the and I'm going to say this again, but the physicality of it.
Mhm.
So what like sort of advice, what tips could you give people to help them get through that physicality of grief?
Well, first of all, according to like Chinese medicine, we hold grief in certain parts of our bodies. We hold it in our lungs, we hold it in our heart, we hold it in our large intestines. So what I've actually noticed is when somebody is experiencing hardcore grief, it can physically affect those parts of their body. So I always tell people right off the bat, especially if it's something like a parent who's lost a child, a wife who's lost a husband, somebody who they're very, very close with, that you need to treat your body like you've just had open heart surgery, because that is how vulnerable, that is how weak, that is how fuzzy. I mean, and it's like, and because I know you've experienced grief, it's like you're not even thinking clearly. You go through that moment when you wake up and then you remember, and then it's all over again. So you're constantly reliving it again and again and again. I think at first people are just numb.
Yeah.
And so I always try to, treat yourself with such love, really love yourself and be nurturing to yourself. Some people like to jump right back into going to work because they just want to, not really think. But the bottom line is, if we don't feel the emotion of grief and we push it down, it can land. Let me give you an example. And this is a personal example. When I went through my divorce, not a death, a divorce, I have a really slow resting heart rate. My heart rate got down to the high 30s.
Oh my
I was
God.
supposed to have surgery. Yeah, normally it's like in the 40s, but it was in the high 30s, and I was supposed to have surgery. And the anesthesiologist said to me, I've never experienced anyone who wasn't getting ready to die with a heart rate this low.
Well, there's a lovely thing to say.
Seriously. But they did sonograms. My heart was perfectly healthy. But because of the loss I had experienced and the grief I was feeling, my heart literally was like slowing down.
Yeah.
And it was, and like, I've heard so many cases of, congestive heart failure, or then they develop stuff with their lungs, so it's like, you really have to baby yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's so true. I totally agree with that. That's so interesting. And, I feel like for me, when my mom passed away, it was like, you go into this sort of cocoon, almost kind of like, you have to, and I feel like that I kind of almost had to allow myself to go into that cocoon, because I'm like the person that's going to go out and do everything. And, my sister's the same way. And so we were running around doing all this stuff. And I thought, we need to like cry, we need to allow ourselves to feel that.
Absolutely.
And that's tough.
And then they also say from the books, and like when I have a niece who was killed. She was 18 when she was killed, and she was my sister's only child. So when my niece was killed, I did what I always do, and I just started doing research. And this happened back in 2011-ish. And so one of the things that I read about was and I tell clients this too, do not make any dramatic changes. No marriages, no divorces, no moves, no nothing for 2 years. Lay low.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
sometimes people, they just want to change everything up, and it's like you're not in a solid place to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, but let me ask you this though. Do you find yourself taking your own advice, or do you find yourself going off the side a little bit and then coming back to it? Like, and I'm
Yeah.
so sorry for the loss of your niece. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it was tragic, but I have to say, and the total different side note, because of that, my sister, who's a truck driver, she's a tough girl. She's a truck driver. Would never have spoken in front of public, in public.
Mhm.
She became she started in the, what is it called? Compassionate Friends. She got involved
Okay.
with Compassionate Friends.
Mhm.
Then she became a leader of Compassionate Friends. Then she became someone who spoke on panels and all this other stuff against drunk driving. And I
Right.
mean, really, I mean, it's amazing to me when I see the good that
Yeah.
she was able to spin out of a tragic, horrific experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, and that's what I try to talk to people about, okay, yeah, we're in a bad place right now. You're
Mhm.
not feeling great about everything right now. But let's, imagine what's on the other side of that.
Mhm.
I mean, and it's like you don't want to tell people what to do, but it's
Mhm.
like there will be another side to that eventually,
Mhm.
you know. Not
And going
uh,
back to what you had said, it's like, to me, being of service,
yeah,
and it's that's the sweet spot in life,
yeah,
truly. And I'm a firm believer of, we are given challenges and pain so that we can overcome them and then help others.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and that goes back to, and I could say this because I'm about to turn 59, right? But like all of the things that happened from the beginning until now, it's like I shouldn't say finally because it's now, but like in the past, like 5 years or so, I've started to realize, oh my gosh, that happened because I'm this way now. And this happened. Like I was a performer and we did a show. We did shows like daily. We did like 350 shows a year, right?
My God.
And do you remember the band Up With People? I wasn't in Up With
Yes,
People, but
yes,
you
I
yeah.
do.
Well, it was a group like that. It was called Recreation. Oh, shameless plug. It was called Recreation, and we did shows like almost daily, right? But what that taught me was, and I don't sing anymore, but what that taught me is that I'm not scared. I can get up in front of thousands of people and it does not bother me at all, especially if I don't know any of them. I mean, if you know somebody in the audience, there could be one person in the audience and you're petrified, right? But if
Yeah.
if you don't know anybody, and then it's okay, it's kind of it's cool, it's fine, but I feel like that I did that because of what I'm doing now.
Mhm.
I'm able to take what I learned as part of who I was and bring it into the now. So and then that's just one example. I mean, we all have those things. You were a teacher. So guess what? Guess you teach now, right?
Mhm.
You teach spirit stuff.
Mhm.
So what are the classes like in teaching spiritual stuff versus teaching English?
Oh boy. Kids listen better. No, I'm sorry. It was
I
interesting
mean, like
learning to
kids
teach
in high
adults.
school?
It was interesting learning to teach adults, is all I'm gonna say.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because kids, they, what my students used to say to me? Miss Schuler, you're such a fun teacher because you're like one of us, which I never knew if that was an insult or a because it was like, okay. But no, I love teaching. To me, it's so much fun because but I did the same thing with my students. I mean, the kids all knew I was a medium. And
Yeah.
so we got into some
Oh,
great metaphysical conversations. So,
oh,
I mean,
cool.
it was really amazing conversations. And the school district I worked for was really cool about diversity. So they were
Okay.
cool. So I have to say, I loved that aspect of being a high school teacher, but as doing spiritual, I mean, it's so much fun because it's
Yeah.
it's like there's really the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And most of the people that I'm sure, as I'm sure when they come in, they all have their own special skill sets.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like I'm learning so much from the people that I'm working with because they're all experts in their own fields.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
me, and put us all together and you've got this great community. And that's the part I really love the best is it's like my in-person circle that meets on Wednesdays, the girls were joking. They're like, I feel like we're a support group. And we kind of are a support group, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's just lovely. It's a little haven.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And you
know?
know what? That's so great that you say that, because I was like, when did you, like, have you been, like, did you know when you were young that you were a medium, or like, how did that come to
Oh boy.
fruition?
I had some really weird things happen when I was a kid. There were always people. I grew upstairs of a restaurant. We lived upstairs. My dad owned the restaurant. And I would go in the basement and it was old and spooky and scary, and there'd be people down there.
Yeah.
And so it was like I didn't know what to do, so I just started talking to them.
Oh,
And they were spirit people. And but I had kind of like mean parents. I shouldn't say that, but my dad thought it was fun to like shut the lights off in the cellar and shut the door and make scary noises.
oh my God.
So yeah, so he was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
I just sort of learned to shut it down.
Yeah.
But then I mean, in middle school, I started hearing voices, and I used to have these weird time spaces where the last thing I'd remember, I'd be in French class, and then I'd kind of come to, and I'd be on the couch watching TV, and I had no idea how I got there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was weird. And I did a little, I'm being very candid here. I did smoke a little pot when I was young. And in middle school, I was thinking to myself, was something laced? Did I get into something I shouldn't have? But I don't think so, because it happened well into my 20s. And I would
Really?
just have these like periods where now it's like, I'm like, was I abducted by aliens? I'm like, what happened?
Oh my gosh. But what do you think it was? I mean,
I don't
I've
know if
never
there were
blacked out. Were you in a
I don't know if
trance?
there were I don't know if they were time slips. I don't know. It was the weirdest thing. And at the same time, I started hearing a huge din of voices. It was like everybody was talking at once.
Oh
And
my
thank
gosh.
God I didn't tell anybody. They probably would have thought I was
Yeah.
schizophrenic or something, because it was 11 and that's kind of when that stuff sets in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so there was a lot of activity in the restaurant. So it was just kind of scary, but I kind of shut it down.
Yeah.
I just, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
mediumship, if it wants you, it will find you. So run, but you can't hide.
So when did you start embracing it then? Like, how old were you?
Probably, you know what? I always was like really into all metaphysical things, but I remember reading the Celestine prophecy in the very early 90s and thinking to myself, I want to learn to read auras. And that kind of like pushed me forward. And then once I got into transcendental meditation in the 90s, whew, it opened up my third eye, and it was like a magical mystery tour. It was crazy after that.
Oh, that is so cool. What a fun story that is. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that is great. So then you just started being open about it. Oh,
Yeah, and once I started realizing that you could take classes, I
mm,
became like a learning junkie. It was, I mean, I hate to say, it was my drug of choice.
yeah.
I mean, I was just zipping over to England to study at Arthur Findlay. It was like I was on. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where he sees the spaceship and he becomes so obsessed he keeps drawing it. It was like I was obsessed. I was reading like 150 books a year. I was obsessed.
Gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it
But
was
you know
insane.
what? I love that spirit like opened up to you like that. That is like so cool. Like you were supposed to go through that. You still probably you still go to Arthur
Oh
Findlay,
my
right?
God, I'm still a learning junkie. Yeah, I don't do it
Yeah.
as much as I did.
Uh-huh.
But God, I mean, I a Tony Stockwell class tomorrow online I'm doing. So yeah.
Oh my, you're in the Tony Stockwell class? I have friends in that class.
Yep, yep.
But we were just saying that, and you guys, I was just telling Susan before we went live that I remember Susan, and I think it was the first time I had ever seen her. And I know I introduced myself to you, but I mean, it was just a hi, how you doing? Don't expect you to remember, but it was a Tony Stockwell class, and it was in Calabasas, California, and I was so excited because it was very close to my house. I don't live in Calabasas. I will say that I don't live in Calabasas, but it was really close. And I was like, "Ooh, this is great." And I remember you being over on this one side. I'm like, you know how you just, and doing spiritual work, you probably understand this. you see somebody, and I talk about this with a lot of people. You see somebody, and you kind of go, "Oh, I want to know her," or I want to know that person. Your energy is just, your vibration is a match.
Mhm.
So I just, back then I was a little too shy, believe it or not.
You got over it.
Yeah. It's so funny because they say the people that are the most outspoken, they call themselves introverts, and that's
Oh,
kind of what I feel like. I mean, it's so
absolutely.
stupid because I'm live all the time. I'm out there doing this work, doing all this stuff, but yet I still feel like I'm an introvert, which makes it
Absolutely. I'm totally in agreement with you on that. And I have to say this. I sat in a development circle for a year before I opened my mouth. Because I'm like, okay, everybody's getting stuff. I don't know what I'm seeing. I don't understand it. Just shut your mouth and sit here. So I just
yeah.
held space for an entire year. So I get what you
Oh,
mean about being like quiet,
yeah.
intimidated. When I
Yeah.
started talking, they were like, oh my God, she talks.
Yeah. That is hilarious. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. We have a very similar story with it. I love that. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. So, um, do you talk to animals? Do you deal with animals at all? Spiritually? I mean, I know you have. There's your.
I'm like, she's
Oh,
sleeping soundly next to me.
oh, what a sweetie.
No, I've got 3 dogs and a cat. Yeah. And this one's getting older, so she gets cranky if whenever I do work, she's not on my hip. So I just let her sit on my hip at all times.
There you go.
Um,
Oh,
but yes, no, to me, a soul is a soul is a soul. It
yeah.
doesn't matter if it's an animal soul or a human soul.
Mhm.
And I recently was hearing somebody say that not all beings, well, okay, first of all, the Brits, they don't all believe that animals have souls, which to me is like
Mhm.
ludicrous. I'm like, ooh,
Mhm.
I can't go there.
Mhm.
Because when
My
you look,
mother didn't believe that.
yeah, I mean, it's
She
it's
said,
like
"Well, they don't have souls." I said, "Mom, oh my god."
yeah, how can you say that?
You
But
said that.
I heard it described as until there is an I am realization, a
Mhm.
being doesn't have a soul. And I
Yeah.
don't know if you know who Dolores Cannon is, but her belief, or I should, she had also, like, there were the fillers. So there were people on the planet who weren't supposed to have souls. They were there to, like, kind of be extras. And so,
Really?
yeah, so her belief was that not everybody soul. It's like they haven't developed the I
Oh,
am mentality yet, which to me is so totally trippy. But anyway, so
yeah.
if an animal has a soul, of course we can communicate with it. To me, it works the exact
Right.
same way that it does if we're trying to read other people, and the same thing
Yeah.
with if they're alive or if they're in spirit. It's still soul to
Yeah.
soul thing.
That's so interesting. What an amazing, I first of all, I gotta research Dolores Cannon because I've seen her feed come up or whatever, from Instagram, right? And so I've seen that, but her name keeps coming up like
Oh my God.
over and over again.
Trippiest books I've ever read were the Convoluted Universe series. Oh my God. I fell in love with her. I mean, she's gone, she's in spirit now, but
Yeah.
I mean, amazing.
Interesting. Oh, that is so interesting. So, let me read this to you because we were talking about animals. Autumn Sunrise 19 says, I have lost so many people and feel pretty good about that. My dog has been gone for many, many years, but it's still hard to talk about him. Any tips to help?
Boy, it's funny because my dog this on my hip has been diagnosed, and I know she's not got long to live. And
Mm,
I feel her pain, honestly, because it's like I feel like there's certain beings we connect with more. So
yeah.
all I can say is just talk to the little animal and ask, because the animal, it's funny because I see so often times when I connect to people who have animals in spirit that the animals still sleep with them,
Yeah.
and it's like they still cuddle with them.
Yeah.
Um, they're still so around us, you know.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like talk with them. I just feel like they're just around us all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet. That's adorable. Now, Katie says exactly, they are our soul buddies. Such
Hmm.
sacred souls are furry friends. So that's, yeah, I love that. Oh my
Hmm.
gosh. That's so beautiful. I had two dogs. One was one was a beagle, Oh my God. The like, you talk about melting heart. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. You know, the beagle was just, but he was only here for 5 years. The other
Oh,
one, he was like the other one was a bigger dog. He was like a sort of a lab mixed with a boxer, but he didn't look like a boxer. He looked more like a lab. But anyway, he, um, he lived for like 19 years.
wow.
I
Oh
know
my
he was
gosh.
forever. He was here forever, but he was like my guy. You
Mhm.
know, I mean, it's like we got the dog because my daughter wanted a dog, but the dog ended up being like more what are
Absolutely.
you
Oh,
gonna do? You know, I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, sometimes the vibe is there, and what are you
mhm.
gonna do? You can't deny it, you know, kind of thing. So, but it was so cute. So, you know, and but we haven't had animals for a while. Haven't had any animals in the house for a while now. So I don't know what's gonna be happening.
And Lori, something to think about. Animals for people like us, that's why they always talk about witches with their familiar, not likening ourselves to witches, but um, it's like we need their energy.
Yeah,
It's, I can't tell you in the morning, I sit in my meditation chair and I purposely have an extra large chair because
yeah,
there's a cat behind me, a dog on one hip, and two dogs on another hip. And
yeah,
if I'm there, they're meditating with me,
yeah.
you know,
Oh,
and
I love
it's they
that.
feed me, I feed them.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
You
that is so beautiful. That and okay, so tying this tying this to grief. When you're in grief, it's probably good to have a
know?
pet around you.
Absolutely. I mean, I think of the hard times that I've gotten through. I
Mhm.
know these little friends have gotten me through it. I know it
Yeah,
without a doubt. I
yeah.
couldn't imagine, I just couldn't have imagined it without them.
So, do you think then, and I think I know what you're going to say, but I just feel like I want to further that conversation about animals. Do you feel like that they grieve?
Who, I mean, we've all seen those pictures of like a military man in his canine unit,
Mm. Yeah.
and a dog like lying next to where the man's been buried. And I mean,
Yeah.
you can see that grief. You can absolutely see that grief.
Yeah.
I remember I had two big pits at one point, and when my little pit Betty passed, I was holding her. Yeah, I was holding her, and it was so interesting. You could see the soul leave the body. It was like, I mean, just I've never, I mean, I've watched my grandmother die and I could see the soul leave at that, but I've never actually like felt because I was holding her. You could, and even my ex at the time said, and he wasn't spiritual at all. He was like, "Oh my God, did you just see that?" And I was like, "Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh
it
my
was
god.
crazy."
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Holy
Mhm.
crap.
But
Now,
my point is the other dog, you could absolutely, there was loss. That was, the dog felt the loss of the dog.
yeah, yeah. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Um interestingly, so I just want to ask you this. Would you consider your main sort of would you consider that you're more clairvoyant?
I would say I'm clairsentient. Yeah.
Really?
I'm
Oh,
total clear feelings. It's like if I'm reading for somebody and they drink too much, my liver will throb.
oh
If
my
you
god.
know, I mean, yeah, so I mean, I'll physically feel so much. And that's
Really?
kind of going back to what we were talking about before, mediums with autoimmune issues. It's like we feel everything, so it's like
Yeah.
we take it on,
Yeah.
you
Now,
know?
the reason why I asked you that was because when our little beagle passed away, I was open. I was out there as a medium and everything, but I didn't see anything go. But he made I don't want to get too graphic about it, but the second that he passed, all the lights flickered. And they
Wow,
were like, and the doctor and the nurse were there and they were like, whoa. And I was like, yeah,
wow.
well, because he was the one that always saw spirits. Like he would look up in the corner and go, "Arr, arr, arr, arr."
Uh-huh.
You
Yeah,
know? So it's like, oh my God.
yeah.
So it was like I felt like it was his little goodbye, you
Of
know?
course. Of
Beautiful.
course.
I love
And
that.
it's like I was reading for someone the other day and he showed up with a dog on his lap. And I'm like, I'm describing the dog. I'm like, it's a little dog. And they're like, oh my God, he had that dog when he was a boy. He loved that dog. Like, well,
Oh,
he's reunited with his dog from when he was a
oh,
boy.
oh, that is so beautiful. See, now, in terms of our little subject of grief, I would think that knowing that the loved one that's on the other side has their their furry friend with them
Mhm.
on the other side. I would think that that would make them feel a little bit better and a little bit of more comfort.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I see that a lot. I don't know. It's like, Tony Stockwell actually taught me this to start looking for this. I love when spirits show me what they're doing on the other side.
Really?
Oh my God, I see them do the funniest things. But like I said, a lot of times they are with animals. On
Yeah.
a different total side note, I remember when my niece first crossed, and like I said, she was 18 when she died.
Mm.
Um, I checked in with her one time. I was like, "What are you doing, dear?" And she showed me she was playing with all of these animals. It was like there were all these animals there, but she was greeting children. I could try thinking of this. She was greeting children who were dying and coming
Oh my
across,
God.
and she was
Oh,
like a greeter, and there were dogs everywhere to make. And I was just like, that is I mean, I'm like, I can't make that up because that's not
yeah.
something I would have
Right.
ever thought of,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know? And she just loved kids and she loved animals. So I guess it made perfect sense.
That is incredible. Oh my God, what a story. I'm going to remember that forever. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
That is just incredible.
Because it
Oh
was
my
like I
God.
kept seeing all these little bald children, so you could tell they had passed from cancer. And oh my God, it was just, yeah.
The fact that she let you see that,
Hmm.
I mean, she was like, here, Auntie, look at this,
Hmm.
Oh my,
Yeah.
that is just so cool. So
Yeah.
cool. So Katie says, my Pepe is grieving very much, grieving my girl, Shishi, who we lost recently. So, you can tell. You can tell when the pet is grieving. You can tell
Yeah.
when the one left behind. And then Candy says, my little lap dog would pout for over 12 hours by the door until I got home from work.
Oh.
That's adorable. Oh, yeah. Nothing better than when the
Mm-hmm.
dog greets you. Oh, there's
Mm-hmm.
nothing better than that. So, if anybody would like a reading, please feel free to type it into the chat. I want to say hello to Cheller. Hi, Cheller. And we have a couple other people, Pam, and yeah, we have Candy and Topaz Visions. I love that name. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. So if anybody would like a reading, just let us know. I do have another question for you. You say you have a development circle that you do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, what Oh, actually, a whole bunch of people are asking for readings, so I'm
Okay.
going to put my question on hold. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Candy would love a reading. So Candy, what is it that you would like? Is there somebody in spirit that you'd like to hear from, or is there an area of your life you'd like some clarity on? We are here for you. And let's see what she comes back and says. I love doing these. I love doing live readings because and I do them all the time, like I've said, but it's really interesting because just because we might be reading for Candy doesn't necessarily mean that isn't a message for somebody else coming through. So I always like to say that to people because, on um I'll be doing a live and I just can't, sometimes there's so many people that want a reading and you can't get to everybody. So I always say, keep listening. There's probably a nugget in there that is for something for you, kind of.
I always tell people, I'm like, the spirit world knew you were all going to be here. I'm like, they figured this out. You're
Yeah.
supposed to be here right now. So it's like all of you are being read.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So this is what Candy says. Always my dad in spirit. The future, whatever you want, even a card.
Okay. So her dad in spirit. Want to jump in there? Let's do that.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
You want to go
Okay.
first?
Yeah. Let me just kind of tap into her dad. Okay. First of all, I feel like her dad's got a really good sense of humor. Does she acknowledge any of this stuff, or do we just kind of
Well,
talk?
yeah, I mean, yeah. So Candy, if you could like give us yeses and nos and acknowledgement. Yeah, yeah, just so that we know. And I'll let you know because that's on Instagram.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I feel like he's got a really good sense of humor. He feels to me like a good family man, but I feel like there was a genuine friendship between the two of them.
Mm,
Um, there's an independence with him as well, though. And I feel like he's really proud of her. There's an independence with her as well.
She's saying yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, and I feel like her parents were actually still married. Because it feels like he directs my attention towards his wife. And I feel like they understood each other very well. They just feel like it was a strong family unit. And I feel like he's letting me know that being a good father who was there for her, and I feel like there's other kids in the family. He says his children, was extremely important to him. He sits very upright, so I know that not only was he a loyal man, but he was a very responsible father.
Ooh, I like that. Great. Awesome. Is there any message that you want to?
I'm just feeling like he's just saying he's so proud of the woman she's become. And I feel like he's saying he never had any doubt in his mind that she was going to be able to rise to the occasion. And I'm seeing things thrown at her. So it just feels like he's able to rise to the occasion of the things that get thrown at her. And he's saying she keeps her sensitivity. And that's the beautiful part, because she's able to keep her sensitivity and her vulnerability. And he said that's what makes her so special.
Aw, that's so beautiful. And she says yes. And then she put hard. She goes, she's lost without him, meaning her mother is lost without her dad. And then she keeps saying definitely. So that's great.
Let her mom know. He still spoons her when they sleep.
Aww.
Okay, so just let mom, because I just see him like this, like right next to mom. And he just says she's so beautiful. He just thinks she's still so beautiful. So please pass that to your mom.
Yes. Oh my gosh. She's not talking about the spooning, but she's saying he never did, like, I don't know what she's referring to actually, but he never doubted me. So it has something to do with along those lines. He never doubted me. Oh, I love that. That is so beautiful. Okay. So are you finished? Do you have anything else you want to say?
Ahead.
Okay. So the card I pulled for you, Candy, is the Pegasus Transcending card, which, it's like it's got to be one of my all-time favorite cards. Right. I feel like that it's interesting because your dad, we're talking about your dad and stuff, and I can't stop thinking about, I feel like that your dad is kind of sort of pushing you to do certain things. And I feel like that they're spiritually related. I feel like that your spiritual awakening, so to speak, is like being like helped along by your dad, not with, but by your father. Okay. So I keep feeling like this push, like, here, go here, let's do this. Come on, you can do this. I feel really encouraging in terms of that. Candy, does that make sense to you? I feel like that. I'm also supposed to tell you, I don't know if you meditate now, but boy, they really, I feel like your dad is like, loving the meditation, do meditation, because I feel like that he comes to you when you meditate. Okay. So yeah. So Candy, I'm gonna, I believe that. Absolutely. Okay, good. Perfect. So, keep meditating and as I feel like that, again, that spiritual awakening is starting to happen. And if you're starting to feel like things are happening, Susan has a whole bunch of classes, right? So she's got a development circle, so let's, keep that in mind. Okay. So much love to you, Candy. That is beautiful. Oh my gosh.
I love your dad. He's a beautiful, beautiful man. I can understand why you feel the loss.
Yeah. It's so, isn't it amazing when they come through and you can just feel the love, like feel the love and feel the care, feel the support. Oh, I love that, so that's amazing. Okay. So let's see. I'm trying to go back and see. Let's see. Oh, Christina, are you still here? Christina. So let's see if Christina is still here. There's several people. Oh, Sue, you know what? Sue was before Christina, but for some reason I thought she dropped off. Sue says, career reading. Will I find a job and in which direction? Okay, Christina, you're next. So Sue is asking about career reading. Will I find a job, and in which direction?
Okay, so I can jump right in. I'm not shy.
I love it.
Say her name for me again. It's just Sue.
Sue, yeah.
Sue's
Sue.
got a lot of people show up as colors to me, and Sue's got a lot of really red ground. When I see that with somebody, it tells me that they have natural organizational skills. She could even work for herself if she wanted. But I just kind of feel like she's saying different directions. I'm not sure she actually knows what she wants to do, because I'm not feeling like she's 100% passionate about what she's looking to do. I feel like from a logistics standpoint, she could find some great hits from LinkedIn that might even give her some ideas. Mm-hmm. But it just feels like I'm kind of a little all over the place. Can she just acknowledge that?
Yeah. Can you acknowledge that, Sue? Let's hear what, if that makes sense to you. It's just, there's a little bit of lag. Right. So just, you know, yeah. Do you want me to, let me do the card, and then when she responds, then you can come back on. Perfect. As well. Sue actually did say, yep.
Okay. Yeah. She just, so I would love to find out what areas she's trying to look, so we could kind of give her more depth for that.
Yeah.
But go ahead. You do your cards, girl.
Well, what's interesting is that I pulled the, Netcaster card. It's in the Shaman Dream deck, right?
Beautiful deck.
And underneath it, it says preparations come to fruition. So it's kind of interesting because it really taps into exactly what you were saying. Mm-hmm. You know, Susan, I mean, it's exactly what you were saying. Mm-hmm. It's like you have to decide what it is that you want to do. And here's the thing. And I learned this many years ago. Okay. Oh, Sue says, yes, all over the place. And she's saying she hopes it's remote, whatever she does. So I learned something a long time ago, and it sticks with me a lot. And it's this. We have a choice. Okay. So we have a choice in ahead of us, whether it's career or whether it's, you know, what flavor. And I'm using the example that I was given. It could be what flavor of ice cream. You go to Baskin Robbins, there's 30, however many flavors now, right? You go in there and you're like, which one should I choose? What is the right one? You know, if you look at, the ice cream bin, and there's like all these things. It's kind of like your career choices, right? You have all of these things, but one is calling to you. One makes you feel like mint chocolate chip. That's my favorite, right? But mint chocolate chip is like right there. And I'm like, but maybe I want to do something different. Maybe the cherries Jubilee thing. Ooh, maybe that, you know, kind of thing. Bottom line is, whichever one you pick, you can make it the right one. So I don't believe, this is my own personal beliefs, you can't go wrong whenever you're deciding. You need to make it the right choice. You can use your intuition, which makes the most sense due to finances and this and schooling and whatever, right? But you have a choice. You can pick vanilla, chocolate, mint chip, cherries Jubilee, whatever. And you choose one, grab onto it, and make it the right one. Mm-hmm. And okay? Don't look back.
I always tell people there's no right and wrong. It's right or left. You know, it's like, you know?
Yes. Yes.
I think we do.
Now that was an easier way of saying it.
Yeah. Well, we get so wrapped up with thinking, oh my God, I'm going to screw everything up if I do this. And, you know, I had a teacher friend who used to tell me, she goes, you know, people tell you don't get second chances. She goes, oh, baloney. You get third chances and fourth chances and fifth chances. She's like, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I'm just going to tell Sue, you've got a lot of red energy. You might want to try to find something you're extremely passionate about and find how you can make your own business, because you have the components in place to be a businesswoman yourself and to run your own thing. And I think you'd enjoy it. I think you're just scared right now.
Yeah, of course. You know, it's frightening. Totally understand that, you know. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do Christina, and then we're going to do Schueler, if Schueler's still here, and then we will do Shar. Okay, so Christina, hopefully you're still here. What is it that we can do for you? So you guys need to write in the chat, like, is there someone you want to hear from on the other side? Is there some clarity that you want on an area of your life? Whatever. Okay, so Sue, much love to you, by the way. So yeah, Christina, what area of your life? And she says, Sue says, thank you. She says,
Oh, of
yes,
course.
yes, thank you. So see, you have like an easier way of like describing things. Like it took you like 2 sentences. You wanted to make a big story out of it. I love that. That was
Wrong with
hilarious.
that?
That's hilarious. Okay, so Christina would love to hear from her brother in spirit.
Okay, could you give us your brother's name?
Yes. Ooh, right. Christina, what's your brother's name? Let's have a brother in spirit. Oh boy. Lots. I don't know about you, but I've got stuff coming in too. Do you have stuff coming in on the brother?
Yeah, I feel a very intense man.
Mm-hmm.
There's an intensity with him. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
I'm just waiting for, because again, the lag. Oh, his name's Michael.
Michael. Okay.
You can go ahead first. You're the guest.
Okay.
So I'm trying to be-
Michael has a lot of blue energy around him and he feels very analytical. There's an intelligence with him. I feel like he may have felt more comfortable. I don't know if it's keeping to himself. There's just he kind of holds his energy close to himself. I feel like he adores you though. Could she acknowledge that?
Yeah. Can you give us yeses and nos, Christina, and tell us?
Because he just feels intense almost.
Mm-hmm.
Very smart.
Yeah. I also kind of feel like that Christina took care of the brother a lot. Like I feel like when I tap into Christina's energy, I feel very protective over the brother. Yes, she said yes. So
okay. But he's got an analytical mind. I don't know how. Oh, and I feel like this was an unexpected fast passing. Can she acknowledge that?
Yeah. Can you give us yeses and nos, Christina? Thanks. Yeah. I hate when it takes too long, but
That's
sometimes
okay.
it does.
And if you want to jump into and talk, that's okay too. I mean, we don't have to,
Okay, no, that's great. That's great. So yeah, Christina, I feel like that he, I do get a quick passing as well. Not necessarily, I will say, well, I don't necessarily feel like it was bing, bam, boom, like instantaneous. It kind of feels like it was like sort of instantaneous. Do you know what I mean? Like there was a little bit of time there. Like something happened, whatever that was, and then something happened, and then he passed. So, it definitely was. Oh, it was an unexpected passing. Okay, so it was. Okay, yeah, so it was definitely an unexpected passing. Okay, go ahead, and then
Well, I feel like he kept a lot of things in. He's acknowledging to me that he may not have been the best with sharing his feelings. It's like I'm almost feeling like the old expression, "Still waters run deep." Like there were a lot of beautiful, deep emotions there, but he kind of kept them in. But I feel like there would have been some times he could really share with you. And that's where it feels like there's that bond and that closeness. I'm not sure if he was going through, there's just so much blue energy around him. I can't tell if it's, he's complicated. Have her acknowledge to me if he's complicated, because there's a very complex vibe to him.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that too. I feel like that they were pretty darn close. And I feel like that they were, what's the word when you're in each other's confidence a lot? You're, like it was like almost like twins. Like you knew each other inside and out. You knew what each other's thinking. And there was very few other people in his life that he could have that unconditional love. He definitely kept to himself, she said.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if there was depression. It almost feels like it could be some kind of, like he didn't want to bother people with the way he was feeling. So he just kept it in. And it feels like he didn't want to worry people. That's what it feels like to me. He didn't want to worry.
Oh,
Yeah.
bless his heart. Um, so Christina, I feel like I'm supposed to cut that off there. Do you have any message from him? We were really close. She says we were really close. He wouldn't tell me things because he knew what I would say.
Exactly. Yeah, he's just saying thank you. He's like, thank you, thank you, thank you for all that you did. He's like, you went above and beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like, and an addendum to that, he's saying that like, I've got your back from over here. Okay. So I feel like that there's that another component to that. So Christina, we're going to leave it at that because in the interest of time. All right. So Cheller says, and if you can see the comments there, if there's time, are you able to read Living Dogs? My Leo, her living dog seems to want to say more to me. But then if you don't get living, she said, if not, I'd love to hear from my past dog, Hummer.
Okay, I'm drawn to Leo.
Okay.
Can she tell us how old Leo is and what's Leo's health like? Because I'm drawn to Leo's liver.
Okay. I think he's just almost a puppy. Cheller, I know very well. I think he's just a little older than a puppy, I believe.
Yeah, I'm drawn to his liver and like his kidney. So I don't know if there's something about like the fluid intake that something's like there's not a good 8 months old, good health. Okay. Is he drinking enough water? Because it just feels to me like there's something about the fluid intake. Feels like a happy little guy. Absolutely. Happy little guy. Loves you to pieces. Feel like he feels very, very safe and very happy. Still acclimating though. So how long is he? She said we just rescued him. Okay, yeah, because he just feels like he's still acclimating and he's a little shy. Like there's a part with him where he's afraid if he does something wrong, he's going to get kicked out of the house.
Oh, bless his heart.
So okay. And he's always wanting me with, you know what, you may want to get like just a little diagnosis, just like his kidney and his liver checked out. Yeah, but just to understand, he's like still on eggshells. So I don't know what happened to him before because he just feels like if I'm bad, I'll get kicked out.
Oh, bless his heart.
Yeah, but he loves you to pieces though.
Yeah. That's great. Yes, he's shy. I love it. I keep hearing homeopathic remedies. I don't know, like if I'm not getting that it's serious. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Are you getting, it's not serious, right, Susan? Right.
Correct.
Okay. So I'm on the same wavelength as you. Like, I'm not getting that anything's serious, but, I think he was in many homes in his short 5 months. Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, he thinks he's been a bad boy and he'll get booted out. So tell him a lot. Tell him we're keeping you. You're not going anywhere. Make sure, because he understands what you're saying.
Oh, what a sweetie. Oh my God. Homeopathic remedies, kidney and liver. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I feel like that, I feel like that could be
or something. And who knows what he ate at the other places. You know what I mean? He may not have eaten good stuff.
Yeah. He's such a good boy. Oh, I love that. That's great.
I like that a lot.
Awesome, Cheller. Much love, much love, much love. He's adorable. I've seen his picture on Zoom. Okay, awesome. So then last but not least, because this hour is, I can't believe it's like almost 8:00. This is crazy. Shar says her sister.
What's her sister's name?
Yeah, Shar, what is your sister's name? Wow, I'm getting a lot of energy.
I was just going to say this one's got personality.
Shar, hopefully Shar is still here. You still here, Shar? Oh, bummer. There's a lot of energy. Oh, Jessie. Jessie is her sister's name.
Okay. So you want to go first? Because she's just a character.
Yeah, she is a character. I feel like that she was so much fun. I feel like that I'm seeing her dragging you, Shar. Like, it's like she wanted to go out and play, and you were like, no, I got to do this. I got to do it. You're like, I don't want to say she wasn't responsible, but you were the responsible one. And they're like, oh, I got to do, no. And I feel like I'm seeing her dragging you to do different things. So yeah, if you could give us yeses and nos to this would be great. But, she's just, she's so much fun, and, not scared of anything. I feel like that I am just not scared of anything. And like, it's like, I'm going to pass. Okay. I mean, like, I just feel like that she's just who she was. And she wasn't scared of consequences either. I will say, I feel like that she wasn't really scared of consequences. Like, maybe she would get in a little bit of trouble sometimes because she was like, okay, so I know that I'm going to get in trouble for this, but blah, blah, blah. So she's 6 years older than you. Okay. She was a lot of fun. Okay. Go ahead, Susan.
Oh God, she's got like fairy energy to me. When I see that, I mean, she doesn't feel like she's terribly grounded. She's kind of like all over the place. I feel like I might be real dramatic in the way that I communicate. But definitely, like you guys are saying, like a fun person. But I feel like, Char, that's her message to you, is she wants you to channel her to really have more fun in your life, really put yourself out there, really like just do what scares you. Because like what Lauri was saying, she did what scared her. And I don't think it was a whole lot, but there's just this level of charisma and this lust for life, almost like she knew it was going to be a shorter life, and I just feel like she's around you all the time, keeping tabs on you, watching what you're doing. Like she's living vicariously through you. And so just understand, she's like, I am still very, very much alive. And she's got a great sense of humor, because she's just kind of saying, and now I get to watch everybody. So, so understand she's definitely keeping an eye.
Oh my gosh, that is so great. I love it. Yeah. So Shar, how did that reading sit for you? So we'd love to know.
And Shar, I also feel like she is worried about if your mom, she draws my attention to your mom. Oh, is she turning my son's lights on? Oh, I would say it absolutely on that.
Yeah. She's like, I want to say she's like progressed on the other side. Absolutely. She's got it going on. Like, she knows that she could, turn the lights on and off and stuff like that. So yeah, that's
actually, people don't always understand. That's hard for spirit to do. You have to be pretty good to be able to do stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, that is so much fun. Yeah, what a great final spirit to bring through. So I love that. Oh my gosh. So Shar, much love. Sorry for your loss of your sister. So, and I'm sorry we couldn't get to everybody else that wanted a reading. I want to ask Susan, because you can contact Susan. Susan, how can people contact you?
My website is just mediumsusan.com. How easy is that? Mediumsusan.com.
That is fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. How'd you get that?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's funny. Is there any upcoming stuff that you have going on you'd like to tell us?
Yes, I actually have an online Zoom development circle that starts. It's a 4-week one, and it's on Tuesdays from 4:00 to 6:00 Pacific time. And it's a all-level mediumship development circle. And like I said, it's
all level. Nice.
Yep. Yeah, awesome. It's fun.
Okay. Awesome. Is there a limit as to how many people you have in there?
Usually I don't have more than 15.
I
try to keep them small, because I love to do the breakout rooms where you can jump in and really work individually with people.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Awesome. So you can reach Susan at mediumsusan.com. And Susan, this was so much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. I'm first of all, I love that you're going to laugh when I say this, but I love that we've reconnected, I mean, it's like I met you years and years and years ago, it seems like, and this was so much fun, and you're such a joy. You have such a beautiful vibration about you. So thank you so much for doing this. This is great.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. And for anybody wanting to hook up with me, it's laurialbert.com. And there you go. Have a great night. And I'm sorry that we didn't get to you, certain people. I'm sorry we didn't get to everybody tonight, but you know, there's always next week. So thanks for being here, everybody, and namaste. Have a beautiful evening. Bye.